I get
I
premier
thought I'd
parking.
Park over at the school, but who knows?
Yeah.
Be good.
Yeah, I mean, even out back.
Actually, Howard.
Right, that's what-
asked John,
Yeah.
and I don't have
Yeah, that
control
would
of
be
that.
bad.
It's part of the.
That's the closest walk.
Yeah, it is. People were parking way down in the streets too.
Students are gonna be a public, comment section.
Only for, no, there's no public hearings at all.
No, no public hearing, but is there an opportunity for?
No, we don't
public
have
to speak?
some. The only time we do that is public hearings. That's-
Okay. Just wanted to find out.
I'm always down there at 3 o'clock, 3:30,
You're there at what?
3 o'clock, I get down there. When I'm in charge, so.
But that's a long wait.
Well, Gene and I take care of, make sure everybody gets in and everything's all right. so. I'm gonna miss him next year. He helped me out a lot.
Really hoping that there's a few of these working.
Yeah. I mean.
That's everything.
Quite the storm.
Oh, they just need a.
They're not.
This one's not real bad.
And I doubt we'll take that
There.
to do that.
And I'd look. A question for you.
After the election, I'll go over the year.
A
So I have to give up the board of
forum
review.
For the final.
I'm on that. I've been on that for like 25 years. And I have that,
Which is not.
Are you okay with that?
but I'm not giving up the chamber.
Public meetings?
Yeah, so
That's no
if
conflict of
the
interest at all.
final
No,
plat
it's-
is in
no,
substantial
yeah,
agreement
yeah,
with the
yeah.
preliminary plat, my law says they don't need to have a public hearing.
Yeah,
Define some
no, that's.
Because of,
Well, I think it's exactly the same, right?
so we do our two things and
Major change.
enjoy it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to depend
What
on,
were the requirement?
Yeah.
The approval. So those would be the changes. Correct.
I don't know, I don't look at.
Well, she cleaned up stuff too. She's like,
What they submitted to
That preliminary is what
Preliminary plat with,
I told you. Okay.
with resolution and all the conditions.
So the final is exactly the same as preliminary.
Yes, John.
The approved.
It should be, they may have addressed all of those conditions in it. But
I don't-
other than- but there really
We
wasn't
didn't have any condition, I don't remember having any condition.
the waiver part of that was part of the override.
Yeah, there were conditions like changing the name on.
Did
That
that
was done.
before.
Yeah,
It
that was
was
done
approved.
before. So I knew there were changes.
right, we gotta get to show.
I thought there was still changes. So they have.
I was trying to cap myself.
Hey, when you did come in though, I told you 15% on the roads.
12.5.
It's 12.
Just that.
Just wanna clarify that. Yep. He had come in. He had foiled the file. Right, he was looking for the waiver.
All this.
Yeah, and I had said.
Karen, I didn't see anything from Josh and I just tried calling him. Like the voicemail.
There was no email. I checked it
Yeah.
6:30.
Yeah, I just checked.
Just,
it right now.
just go ahead. You'll have to
Okay.
go ahead.
Ready? 7:02, July 22nd, planning board meeting, call to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
States of
And to follow for stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Joe. Present, Ms. Salvatore. Here. And Pettis,
Here.
and Allison.
Here.
And Mr. John Krimsky.
First on the agenda is the boundary adjustment for Scott Ridley and Gina Jett. As promised, you guys are first.
Okay. So just to catch everybody up, I imagine you're all aware of this. Since our last meeting, both I and the Gina Gent's attorney have indicated to the town food council that, you know, we are willing to grant the town the required easement for a turnaround area to satisfy what I believe is the only issue that was causing this to be, you know, tabled. I think last time we discussed if there's anything else, we'd be happy to discuss. And I think this was the planning board's main concern. So, at this point, I haven't seen a draft easement. I know that, you know, we've kind of indicated what we're looking for as far as, you know, the town would be responsible for preparing that and, you know, we would sign off on it. So, you know, we're happy to review when that's ready. We're all busy, understandably, but, you know, at this juncture, we've indicated in writing that we're ready to do that. Once we have, you know, iron out the details. I don't know if the town is planning to have that surveyed or described. Okay, it sounds like it is. So that's, you know, one step in the process, but, you know, certainly everybody wants to move forward on this. And, you know, I think that one loose end is agreed to. So that's us. If Kristen has anything to add.
I spoke with Karen yesterday, regarding this. We have some basic directions for what the town is looking for as far as the area. I think probably the next logical step would be to put together some kind of a display to be reviewed by council, by the town board, whoever needs to review this and make sure everyone's on the same page as far as what this is going to look like and where it'll be physically located. And would say probably the next week we can put that together. When's the next town board meeting? Would they need to review it?
The first Tuesday in August.
Okay.
August 5th, I think.
Okay. Absolutely. Be no problem. Okay.
I do have all the documents drafted. I'm just waiting on that
Okay,
Schedule A, essentially.
sure.
We'll start the display and then if everyone's happy, we can draft the Schedule A. Okay.
And just, oh, sorry, go ahead, Karen.
I was gonna say, I can show it to Ron, your highway superintendent, he's obviously the most concerned one about it.
Yeah.
And then we can present it to, if you have it ready to forward that Tuesday. Get it done.
Sure. I can reach out to Ron or he can reach out to me if he needs, if he wants to actually see where it is on the ground.
Okay,
Thankfully, this is our home turf, so we're happy to go out there and meet with them because it's right around the corner.
okay,
Okay,
I'll relay that.
sure.
And I know that Gina's attorney had put some like understanding in writing. I mean, do we have, we're all on the same page with that for the most part? You agree with it? Okay. So then I guess I'd be more than happy to field any other questions from board members. I guess my question to the board would be whether or not the board would consider voting on this project tonight, conditioned upon, you know, further steps taking as far as reducing the easement to writing and having the town board sign off on it. You know, that's a condition that I think we expect to fulfill in the next month. And that would certainly allow us to hit the ground running once all those steps are taken care of, without the need to badger the board any further.
I have to take my guidance from Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly up to the board whether or not you want to review this tonight, but I don't see why you can't without putting a condition on it that the easement is signed.
So does everybody saw their, we didn't have paper from last month, right?
I think generally speaking, that
We
was
need it.
the only concern.
Right, it was just,
They're going to address it, and if we approve on Oh, sorry. Apologies. So in previous discussions, the only issue that we had remaining was this easement for the turnaround. If they're addressing it and we can approve it today pending or on the condition of the approval of the town board, I don't see a reason to hold it.
I agree. I'll make a motion to move forward with it.
I will second your motion.
There you go.
Okay, roll call vote to approve. Clarify the condition, whoever made the motion.
We will approve it subject to a final approval of the right of way by the highway superintendent and the town board, and whoever else might be
And the
concerned,
subsequent granting of the easement. to the
granting
town.
of the easement.
Yes.
So say that one more time, subject to the approval. The right way.
Right of way, approval by Ron Dewell, the highway superintendent, the town board, and any other, I don't think there's anybody else really, but it's
Okay. All right, so roll call vote to approve 2025 BL-2, subject to the approval of the right of way. For approval of the highway superintendent and the town board. Roll call vote, Francis Martinville,
Yes.
Michael Panich,
Yes.
Rose Albertura,
yes.
Pamela Pettis,
Yes.
Mary Ellen Allison,
Yes.
and Chairman John Krasinski. Yes. All votes yes, motion carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
States the final plat. Hopefully this is the final.
Pretty confident this time.
I think it's when I went past the date, it would have been already done, but. Yeah, so Eric Samblin from SRA Engineers. We didn't plan to do that here, but there were a couple of items that needed cleaning still since the final approval was granted. One of those was the Department of Health final approval, which took longer than expected because they kept asking for other things on the plans. It did not change the design anyway at all. Really, we just added the title page to include a number of notes that they wanted, things like that. We also have since received a letter of intent from the town board to take over the road. So that's no longer in question as far as whether or not, what's going to happen there. And by the time we finally did get the Department of Health approval, and I skipped a beat for a few days, all of a sudden Karen notified me that, well, it's been more than 62 days. And so it's too late to file to the county. So we're really just asking for a kind of reapproval of what was approved back in April. The same thing that it was there before. And so what we've done is we fashioned an approval sign off on that cover page to basically cover both the April approval and hopefully one tonight. And I've got two paper copies. I've got the original signatures here too from the Department of Health. And I'll have these two paper copies in the Mylar available for approval for signature if it is reapproved.
Basically, it is, it's the same plan, it's just they made a new cover sheet, which, as I said, put the approval from the last time on there, added the statements for where John needs to sign to update the approval date, and then Department of Health has their stamp and signature on there with their approval. And the list of stuff.
That new area, that's just where it says renewal. Under authority.
Sorry, what?
The location of John on the front page, that's just right underneath where you're.
Yeah, we added that language. Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve it. The reapproval of the approval.
I'll second.
Second by Mike. Okay, roll call vote for the reapproval of Evergreen State subdivision. Roll call vote, Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Joshua, sorry, Michael Penich,
Yes.
Rose Salvatore,
Yes,
Pam Pettis,
Yes.
Mary Ellen Allison,
Yes.
and Chairman John Krasinski.
Yes.
All votes yes, motion carried.
Yeah, you need me to sign it now or just?
Did you bring the Mylar with you?
Yep.
Do you want to go down and take a minute and sign that? Do you have a paper copy there too, or just the? Mylar?
got them all.
You want to go ahead and sign them?
Okay.
He's not waiting another 60 days.
They'll have to
Yeah, I know.
sign this sheet, and I'll have to file it tomorrow, and I'll scan it in and email it to you, okay?
Okay, that's great. I figured, didn't hold you up anymore.
Been a couple of years.
I know. So. Yep. Right there. But that is the, today's date for your tuition. Just the service.
I think.
Have the others.
What? My husband is like over that right now. He said they're terrible. Well, he was like, I left and he had already. Dinner and he already.
Yeah, so much. Oh, like that. Keep going. That's always good. I think it's you since it gets free. No.
No, I'll need to provide you tomorrow with that last bit of the puzzle.
Okay.
We're good.
Awesome.
Actually, there is a fee for that final plat, to let you know what that is.
Okay. We'll take care of it.
All right.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, next we have a special use permit application for Dale Warfront.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
So from what I understand, you want to put a building on your property, correct?
Yeah,
So this is a special use permit because there's no building on there, right? That's what, no principal building.
Chris is gonna do this one.
Okay. Right, so where he's at, it's a vacant lot, so he didn't have a principal building, and in order to put a building in, since this can't be accessory to anything, he's gonna, or he was intending to build a personal warehouse. Industrial use buildings like a warehouse, they only need to meet 300 square feet. His is roughly, I believe, 900. But in order to do so, he needs a special use permit, so that's why he's here today. It's a building for specific.
well, I've got a yard full of sheds that are getting older and it was gonna cost to replace them. I can build one building and it can consolidate everything and just make it nicer.
There any utilities gonna be run to it?
I'm looking at the close-up, I guess. It looks like there's some other structures there.
I have some sheds, I
The
have
other
an
shed.
RV.
Your home is not there at all?
No, I stay in the RV when I'm on the property, but
Solar panels there too, that's one.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm looking
That's
at.
what
Yep,
you're seeing as well.
yeah.
right.
Mhm.
See the pictures of the road, which the drawings, is it going to be gray in color with the white doors?
It's gonna be a red roof and brown, dark brown siding,
Okay,
and the doors are gonna be opposite. I think he has a current,
Should be pictures in the very, very back. I don't know if it matches the color code that you've got going on though.
it should, but
I have gray.
it is great.
yeah, it's great.
Red.
And it's specifically going to be used to store these, just what you just said, right? That's it?
Yeah, I have a boat and a four-wheeler and a motorcycle and stuff to place
Okay.
store it for kind of the weather.
I mean, I'm not sure we have to have a public hearing, but just to, for the public that lives where there were so many people around, you can come to the public hearing and express their, not express anything at all, but when we've had some of these before, that's why I asked.
Mr. Karinsky.
Yes.
All site plan reviews have to have go through a public hearing.
I know that.
Site plan, all special.
Especially this.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just misheard you.
Oh,
You
okay.
thought You said if a public hearing.
No, I meant if people show up at the public
okay.
hearing.
Sorry.
I agree we have to have a public hearing. But we did have, one of the buildings, somebody showed up, of course. The property was probably only on a couple acres. We've got 13 acres of land here.
Yes.
So. And I think because of the closest to other houses, that's why they were here to make sure. It went with
I
the,
think the closest house is 500 feet
okay,
towards Northeast River Drive.
Is there an ascent from the road to your kind of area that the building?
Yeah, it's kind of an upgrade,
Up a grade.
gradual all the way up to the back of the property.
Do you have a rough idea of how much higher from the road this will be sitting?
15 feet, 20 feet maybe.
That looks like there's a substantial amount of vegetation between where the building will be and the road.
Yeah, 200 feet of trees and
Mhm.
About 182.
That's all planned to stay.
oh yeah, yeah.
the short form to the record. Is that necessary? It is.
Do this one.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that means read it.
Yeah, there's a couple unanswered.
Well, the application should be complete before you do secret.
Okay. Well, there's no county referral not required. It's not located in the APA. The only items on your review application, discussion with applicant, and then the public hearing. So we need to set a public hearing before we do this. Is that what you're telling me?
If you don't accept the application as complete, then you would accept the public hearing.
Okay,
Just tell them what isn't filled in.
Yes, if you look at his application, the tax map number is not written on it. That it's 306.1-21. That's right at the top right-hand corner. Number 4 says list any other required permits or approvals associated with proposal and their status. He has to apply for a Warren County building permit if he gets approval here. And then there's one more. Proposed action consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan, yes, no, or non-applicable. It is consistent.
It is consistent.
Yes. Now, mine says, is already checked, yes.
Yeah, I must have copied.
No, B.
No, that's what you said, 5B.
No, on the application.
Oh. And in the actual assessment form, it's 5B.
So do we need to read through the application? No. In terms of reading out loud.
It's saying that he's having his the address as the actual location. Do you have a post office box or something where you're?
I have a mailbox on it.
Oh, you have a mailbox, even though there's no legal place for you to sleep and stay there other than campground, or your camper?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a question on number 3 of appendix B. It says the total acreage of the site. And you put 840 square feet. I'm
That's
assuming
the
that means the
lot that
whole,
the
that's
slab is gonna take up, I'll talk
That's
building
the-
size.
the footprint of the building. Is that what they're asking though?
No,
Total-
you're correct, goes out.
Total acreage of the site would be that
34 acres.
15.34 acres.
13.34.
Acres.
She's on the
And then
bigger
one
one.
below that, total acreage would be disturbed, I guess that's appropriate, 1,000 square feet, yeah.
That's what you're confused.
And then at
Total
C is the
acreage.
total acreage owned or controlled by the applicant or project. Oh, okay, gotcha, okay.
That would be right,
Yeah,
isn't it?
13.
That would be right. 840 square feet is of the proposed action, right?
It's
Actual
asking
building.
the acreage of the site. So the actual parcel of land,
Parcel of land that it's on.
Okay.
and then.
Yeah,
It's usually gonna be the same unless he happens to have two parcels directly next to each other,
Right,
then it would be.
so the correct number is 13.34.
It should be 13.34 acres.
And then B is fine at 1,000.
He is fine at 1,000, yeah.
Got it.
B is correct, 13.34, because it doesn't own any adjacent
Mhm.
property.
And then similarly, on the application, I would think total site area, square foot or acreage should clarify that to be 13.34 acres.
Application.
Top half of the first page of the application.
First page of the application,
Total area, right, it's not 840, it's
Ours, 840.
okay.
That should be 13.34.
Acres
Total site,
for total site area.
yeah, so that's the 13.
Yeah, 13.34.
Number 3A, you're talking
No,
No, that was the beginning of the.
The application, not the.
Yeah.
Total site area.
But the actual application.
Tax map number.
No vote.
And the application doesn't really have a space to say how large the building is gonna be, so 840 would just come off altogether.
Mhm.
And that property is listed as vacant.
Yes.
Okay.
With
Okay.
So next step. We have to read this out loud into the record.
No, I mean, it seems like you all went through part 1 of the secret since
Mhm.
some things that needed to be changed. So. Okay, so you can either do part two now, or you can set the public hearing and do part two at the hearing. It is up to the board.
Is there any impact on the timeline if we push this off to the public hearing?
So the courts say you should do it at the earliest opportunity, which would be now. However, there is also case law that says you should have the public hearing first and listen to concerns from residents and then do in case they bring up something important or pertinent. So it is up to you guys.
Yeah, I think
In light of
on
that,
the
it would make
public
sense to
hearing
wait,
anyway.
or till the public hearing to go to part two. I think that would be the logical thing to do next.
I make a motion to set a public hearing.
I'll second.
Did you make it? Or you-
Yes, I said, I'll make a motion.
27th at 7 PM.
August 27th.
All right, motion to set 2025 SU-2 for August 27th at 7 PM of public hearing. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
So we'll see you in 5 weeks, 5 days. 5 weeks and 1 day. Right. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll be in contact with you.
All right.
Submittal for the conservation subdivision, Sagamore Drive, Lake Tour Road, and Melrose Lane. Property owned by Luzerne Woods LLC and Luzerne Estates LLC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael Roman. Brendan Ferguson was not available, so yeah, I'm not sure if there are any specific questions. Everything has been formally submitted. But I am happy to answer any questions you may have. Do you, Karen, know if the town engineer looked at the final plat at all?
It's up to you to tell me to refer it to him.
Understood.
Also, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So when Tucker provided us the file share link to download it, I downloaded it. And I essentially, I've got double monitors at work, so I had this up on one and one up on the other. I just kind of went through it one by one.
Well, I think we need those monitors.
They're nice, but I did not see anything that triggered any red flags.
No
My
changes.
Looking back and forth between the two.
Okay.
By that, I mean the preliminary plat.
Preliminary plat versus the final,
They were the
doing
same.
a side by side to the best of my ability. Stuff.
changes.
There are no substantial changes that I.
I have a question about the, and I'm not sure when it has to be done, the bond, before they can start work.
Going about the bond amount, they were supposed to come up with an amount, and then our attorney is supposed.
The check for the bond?
We don't want to check yet, but we need to know what the amount of the bond will be.
I'm not sure. We can definitely provide that to you, but
So your engineer would
yeah,
create that and then send
I
it.
can talk to Brandon about it, but I thought he did, but I can check with him. He's back in town tomorrow. Okay,
Recall having gotten it.
okay.
Jonathan.
He hasn't indicated to me about it. I don't know what he does. That's one question, and then is that I figured out that long ago.
Okay.
And that, the bond has to actually be in place before any construction starts.
Understood. Okay.
Does the bond amount need to be determined in order to make a resolution one way or the other?
Has to be in the resolution, yes.
So we can't make a resolution this evening if we don't have that amount, correct?
Correct.
I'm wondering if you could make a condition that the bond amount needs to be submitted before a certain date. But I don't know. I'm not 100% confident in that answer.
Okay, good.
Make sure they don't need to provide anything else, though, so that if they do, we.
Take care of the water issue.
Yes.
That was resolved, I know, yes. Additional testing was done, everything was to the county as far as.
That's everything, and the.
Looks like it is, yeah.
There was a valve.
Okay.
The water pressure is now within what DOH required. We have, you have the city work on that. I provided that to you.
Yeah, they couldn't get DOH approval until they had.
And they also have the approval on all of the individual septics that are there as well. That is also part of DOH's approval.
I was trying to text with Brandon and he was under the impression that it needed to be submitted prior to construction.
The bond itself does, the amount though we need to put in the resolution.
The amount of the construction amount based on his estimate or the
Yes.
bond amount?
So what the bond amount
The
will
bond,
be, which should
okay.
cover the construction.
Yeah, the bond amount would be
For
based-
infrastructure, or are you talking about for the lots too?
It's for everything, so
Okay.
the purpose of it is if the developer walks away, the town has the money to cover completing the project.
I got you. Like, yeah, I only know the infrastructure costs. I don't know like the road, everything.
Yeah, roads, sidewalks, like all of that.
But not the actual houses.
No,
Oh,
The
okay,
town-
because I know that cost.
See a lot of
I know that-
I'll read it to you. The subdivider shall furnish a performance bond or cause a deposit sufficient to cover the full cost of the construction of such utility and street improvements as may be required by the planning board. In accordance with section of 277 of the town law. So.
I mean, I know the cost of the infrastructure, the roads, sidewalks and everything that we need for EDP's drawings. I guess he was hoping that it would be based on a condition.
You said you have the costs?
Not a formal estimate, but I know, yeah, I know what the cost is.
Can you tell us what that is?
It's, yeah, $2.3 million. And it can be submitted by EDP. A formal.
I mean, generally what happens is the developer's engineer will submit that and then the town will send it to the town engineer to approve it. Or not approve it necessarily, but to say whether or not they think that's sufficient.
Sufficient.
Does that have to occur before we can make a resolution?
I mean, honestly, it doesn't. The condition could be that the engineer sends it to the town engineer by X date or 30 days, and the town engineer approves it by X date.
Mhm.
So the condition can be upon approval by the town engineer. Just keep in mind that the final plat has to be filed with the county within 62 days of the chairman signing it. So you're not gonna wanna make that condition, you're gonna wanna make that condition. Less than.
1 month.
Is the bond a town board issue or a planning board issue?
Both? Oh, yeah. I missed some municipalities are different. Some are the town board and some are.
So we can,
Sentence of preliminary, the last paragraph. Be it further resolved that based upon above findings, the planning board approves the application for preliminary plat approval. The applicant shall comply with required permitting process and address any future town engineer comments if required prior to final plat approval and commencement of construction. 26th day of March. They weren't, yeah, but that's, no, this is the. we already approved this.
Yeah, the previous.
This is what we already approved. That's what they want us to sign. Further resolved that based upon the findings of this planning board, approves the application for preliminary plat approval. The applicant shall comply with required permitting process and address any future town engineer comments if required prior to final plat approval and commencement of construction. So this is what we already approved back in March. That's why I found the bond in there prior to that.
Okay, so,
Did you want to read, see a copy of this?
okay, so what permitting processes are you concerned about them not complying with?
I just wanted to make sure that we were following this 100%.
Okay, and then are there any town engineer comments that weren't addressed?
Right. Does the town engineer have to look at the?
No.
no,
Town engineer has to look at this final before we approve it. Because he hasn't seen it yet.
You can certainly ask him to, from what I'm hearing, and I'm not making any. I don't know, I didn't look at the plans side by side, but from what I'm
Right.
hearing, people who did are saying there are no changes. The town engineer already reviewed the preliminary plat, and if there's no changes, I don't know how productive it would be for them to review it again. That is certainly your choice.
I would also give them an opportunity to get the bond, get in front of us. And then I'm just saying,
But keep in mind that is an additional expense.
well, the bond is. We,
I
I
know
mean,
that's-
the town engineer.
the
The
town
same
engineer.
exact
did that.
words.
Yeah, it's already approved.
Yeah. I feel confident in what Michael said that we shouldn't have the engineer look at it again.
Okay, I'm just telling
Yeah.
the
Oh,
board,
yeah.
this is what, so when we approve it, everybody knows what.
We approve pending the bond, approval of the bond, but that's.
Is there gonna be a public hearing for this?
That's another thing we have to,
So that's first. Are we gonna have a public hearing? For the final plat?
We already had one.
well, yes, but you could have a second one prior to the final.
The preliminary we did.
Say no.
Public hearing is required if there are differences in the plat.
Substantial.
Okay.
Substantial
And
changes.
again,
Final to the,
For preliminary to the.
And they're, so we're saying.
but
what-
if you can waive that if there are not substantial changes. And it's the board's decision what you do with that.
There's no public comment. If you cannot be quiet, we can have you removed.
There was no changes to any of that.
Somehow we-
There's no public comment.
Motion that we don't have a public hearing in this case based on what we've heard.
second that.
Second by Rosalba. All right. Motion to waive the public hearing for Luzerne Wood subdivision, roll call vote. Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Michael Penich,
Yes.
Rosalba Tora,
Yes.
Pamela Pettis,
Yes.
Mary Ellen Allison,
No.
and Chairman John Kransky.
Yes.
5 votes yes, 1 vote no, motion carried.
Mhm.
Proposals.
Mhm.
So we should rule it, correct, until. Of the three.
So. If you're incorporating your reasons from the preliminary plat approval, since it hasn't changed, you can just incorporate those reasons into this resolution. You don't have to read them all again.
Happy to read it all again.
Oh.
I
Then be
do,
my
I
guest.
do request though, before we make a choice and read anything. If there is this conditional. With the bond amount, I need proper language for that, because I've been trying my hand at that, but. So. Do we want to establish that? Prior to getting,
What, this is, oh, you got the draft there?
Just have all the drafts. I need to know which one they're going with.
Oh, this is the one to go through. And it has the language regarding the bond and that's.
Oh,
right.
Okay, I have it.
Okay.
Let me just find it.
Got it, so.
Exactly.
No, I only read a page. Go.
Yeah.
Okay. Read the page about it. So the amount would be 2.3 million.
We think the one with the bond amount,
I'm working on it.
2.3, put it in there.
No, she
I'm working on it.
reworded
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
so just to confirm with your 2.3 million. You are ready for and capable of furnishing that bond. When it comes time to move forward with construction.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you're in agreement with that amount.
Yeah, that was a number that was prepared by EP and J Dunn Excavating.
So that has to be just double checked by the town engineer.
Yes, that's what. Condition for that to be reviewed and approved by the town engineer. I just wanted to get confirmation that he's in agreement with that number and confident that he can provide that.
I don't have your copy.
That's what I wanted to say.
So they got DOH approval, right?
Don't have DOH approval.
Mhm.
There's an email to that
Yeah,
effect.
faster than you.
We have DEC approval.
So I got through college so fast. No, I just said I read faster than it. Good.
Do we want to?
When was that email, David? Can I see that?
So what did you say? Estimate.
Yeah.
And then this is. Right. These are. And then the end rows. Okay.
So is there any deliberation we need to hold?
Gotta read.
Yep. Well, do we first need to vote on whether to put it in the minute?
Do we need it?
After we.
Yeah, it'll be based off that
You're
motion.
you're gonna bring it out and someone who will second it.
So you just make the motion and you read it completely and then somebody else.
So I make the motion for the following resolution.
Right, and I'll second.
And then I start reading. Okay. One last question.
Yeah.
For like
You
the,
don't have to.
skip that.
You can just start with this.
Okay, well, I make the resolution,
The motion.
the motion to
Yeah.
adopt the following resolution. Town of Lake Luzerne Planning Board, resolution approving the final plat for the Luzerne Woods major subdivision on Sagamore Drive. Whereas the applicant, Luzerne Woods LLC, submitted an application for preliminary plat approval to the planning board for approval of a major subdivision proposing an 18-lot subdivision on an approximately 33-acre parcel in the Hamlet Residential District located on Sagamore Drive in the town of Lake Luzerne, parcel ID numbers 298.16-3-50.1, 298.16-3-55, 298.20-1-34, 299.13-1-3, 299.13-1-4, 299.13-1-5, 299.13-1-6. And Whereas the preliminary plat shows 18 proposed single-family homes with on-site stormwater management, extension of public water mains, pedestrian paths, and individual on-site wastewater treatment systems. 16.67 acres will be conserved through deed restrictions as undevelopable land. And whereas this proposal was classified as a type 1 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SEQRA). On October 23rd, 2024, the planning board declared lead agency status and subsequently sent all required notices regarding coordinated review. And whereas on November 20th, 2024, the planning board opened the public hearing on the preliminary plat, at which all interested persons were heard, and kept the hearing open through February 26th, 2025 planning board meeting. And whereas the proposal was referred to the Adirondack Park Agency, who responded with a non-jurisdictional letter, as did the Army Corps of Engineers. And whereas the developer received Department of Health DOH approval on July 10th, 2025, and DEC approval on March 12th, 2025. And whereas the planning board completed the full environmental assessment form parts 2 and 3 on February 26th, 2025, and determined that the proposal would result in no significant adverse impacts to the environment. The public hearing was closed after the SEQRA review on February 26th. And whereas on March 25th, 2025, the planning board approved the preliminary plat finding I. The proposed subdivision is appropriate for the town of Lake Luzerne, community. The town of Lake Luzerne put together a committee and hired a consultant to create a new comprehensive plan for the town. And one of the major developments of this comprehensive plan was the need for more housing for middle-class families in the town to increase the school district enrollment for the betterment of the community and businesses in town. The developer has sought a conservation easement instead of putting the maximum number of houses allowed under the subdivision regulations, which is appropriate for the Lake Luzerne community. Additionally, the applicant has revised their plans at the request of the planning board during the review process to better suit the requirements of the Lake Luzerne community. 2. The use of the conservation subdivision is the best use of the land being subdivided, as it maintains the character of the lands surrounding the lake and of the community around the subdivision. The use of deed restrictions outlined in the preliminary plat will conserve the character in the future as well. 3. The design of the streets in the subdivision meet all town requirements. The use of the cul-de-sacs are appropriate for the volume of lots that are being developed. Additionally, cul-de-sacs make pedestrian traffic safer without the concern of high-volume traffic. The cul-de-sacs and hammerhead designs meet all requirements for fire and safety emergency services. 4. The preliminary plat has considered the arrangement, location, and design of the streets, and the applicant has designed the most appropriate solution of the existing conditions. Drainage on the lots is appropriate, and although there has been numerous public comment on concerns about the stormwater, it appears from the actual topography, the stormwater will be contained within the subdivision itself. This concern has also been reviewed by the town engineer, who does not think it will be an issue and whose opinion is accepted by the planning board. Excuse me one second. Number 5. The location of the town aquifer, which has been the topic of much public comment, has been reviewed by the town engineer, who has stated that the applicant has gone beyond the Department of Health requirements. DOH mandates that septic systems are at least 200 feet away from wells. The septic systems in this subdivision are at least 600 feet away. Additionally, there is current development within the 600-foot range without concern.
The new subdivision will have septic systems which are designed better and further from the aquifer than these existing septics, and therefore the planning board does not find these concerns regarding the distance and location to the town aquifer, or location of the town aquifer to be persuasive. 6, the conservation easement is the best scenario for the town in terms of lot sizes and arrangements, as it achieves the goal of the town in encouraging more development without the cost of affecting the soul and character of the town. The preliminary plat as designed fits into the overall landscape of the proposed area of the subdivision. 7, the sanitary systems will be self-contained to each lot, which is the desire of the town. Although the water pressure, actually this has changed.
This part though is just talking
Just
about.
what we said before. Okay. Although the water pressure was below the desire of the Department of Health, it is still sufficient to meet the requirements. The Department of Health will ultimately decide whether the water pressure is sufficient, which relieves the planning board of the duty to decide the issue. Number 8. I would like to add to the record that after investigations and turning on this valve that wasn't turned on all the way, the pressure issue has been resolved, and so everything seems to be in full compliancy at this point. The lands around this number 8. The lands around this proposed subdivision are already subdivided and developed, therefore future development of adjoining lands not yet subdivided is irrelevant. Number 9. The waivers being requested by the developer will not impact the character of the development, nor will they jeopardize the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. These waivers have been requested and explained in a letter dated February 24th, 2025 from Environmental Design Partnership, LLP, attached to this resolution and have been reviewed and approved by the town engineer and the highway superintendent. Specifically, the waivers will not impact the character of the development, nor will they jeopardize the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Because the subdivision regulations do not allow a road slope of more than 10%. However, Melrose Lane will contain a slope of 12%. The slope was reviewed by Warren County Fire Prevention and Building Code Enforcement and Fire Chief Novotarski, who determined that this slope would not affect emergency services and the county would approve this slope. B. The subdivision regulations require a pavement width of 28 feet. However, the legs of the T turnarounds of 2 roads have a pavement width of 22 feet. 22 feet is sufficient to turn an emergency vehicle and or tow truck and exceeds the requirements in Appendix D of the New York State Fire Code. C. The subdivision regulations limit cul-de-sac roads to 800 feet in length. However, Rose Lane has a proposed length of 1,712 feet. This length was reviewed by both Warren County Fire Prevention and Building Code Enforcement and Fire Chief Novotarski, who did not find an issue with the road length, and the county approved of the extended road length. D. The subdivision regulations require cul-de-sac roads to have a maximum grade within 150 feet of centerline intersections. Road A will have a maximum slope of 3% from the center line of Melrose Lane. However, Melrose Lane has a slope of 12% at the intersection. This is a 3-leg intersection. Vehicles approaching Melrose Lane from Road A will be required to stop. Road B will have a slope of less than 3% for the first 50 feet from the intersection with Lake Toro Road. Vehicles entering Lake Toro Road from Road B will be traveling uphill at slow speeds, and any risks of vehicles sliding out into Lake Toro Road is minimal. E. Subdivision regulations limit roadside ditches to no longer than 400 feet. Melrose Lane contains a proposed roadside swale totaling 680 feet. Because of the condition of the soil, swales will allow for infiltration and filtration of stormwater runoff prior to entering downstream stormwater management devices. In steeper areas, check dams will be installed. in the swales to slow flows, reduce erosion, and promote infiltration. Whereas the applicant has submitted to the planning board for consideration at their July 22nd meeting, the final plat. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the planning board determines that applicant's final plat is in substantial agreement with the preliminary plat approved by this board on March 25th, 2025. And be it further resolved that because the final plat is in substantial agreement with the preliminary plat, no further public hearings are necessary. And be it further resolved that the applicant's engineer will furnish an estimate of the infrastructure costs approximated to be $2.3 million to the town engineer within 15 days of approval, and the town engineer will approve or deny such bond amount. Approval of such bond is a condition of approval, and such bond shall be provided to the town before the commencement of any construction. And be it further resolved that the applicant's final plat is approved for the reasons stated in the March 25th, 2025 resolution approving the preliminary plat and incorporated herein, and the planning board authorizes the chairman to sign such final plat.
I second.
Second by Francis. Okay. Roll call vote on the resolution proposed by Michael Page. Roll call vote, Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Michael Page. Yes. Rose Albertine,
Yes.
Pamela Pettis,
Yes.
Ellen Allison,
No.
and Chairman John Krasinski. Yes. All right, that's five votes yes, one vote no, motion carried.
That's it.
I'll have Brandon touch base with you, Karen, this week. So.
And, what happened with everything, the final plat, we've got to have a Mylar. And I have our paperwork that you're gonna need, but paper one for the county as well. It has to be filed within 62 days of this approval.
Yep.
So you've
And,
got to get DOH's stuff
Yep.
incorporated
So you
into
say you're
that
gonna
as
have
well.
DH sign off and then have to you
Yeah,
62 days from today.
Yeah.
Yep, he's aware
it's
of that.
got to have a statement on there approved by the chairman, by the planning board. I think I gave that to him already. but
Yeah, and he mentioned to me, so he's aware of it, and
Okay,
I'll follow up with him and have
but
a
it
touch
does
base.
have to be filed with the county within 62 days,
Okay,
okay?
I'll have him touch base. Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the final plat. Sorry. It's a plan for 10 lot, concept plan, the 10 lot subdivision near Hidden Valley Road, owner Thomas Reed.
Good evening, Matt Stevens for the record, Van Dusen and Steves. This is just a revised plan from what the board had looked at 2 years ago. It's actually an 8 lot subdivision, 7 building lots and a large 74 acre lot that would have some access off of the proposed easement and then also access off of Halton. So what you had before you in the past went to the APA. You had the 2 new lots on the frontage on Hidden Valley Road and the existing parcel that you approved with the lot line adjustment for that. That's been approved and filed with the county. And then going back to the APA, it was 9 lots originally, and with the density calculations, the APA came back with it is 7 lots. The eighth lot being the 74.22 acres. On the map, you see it does say lot 10 because we're also including the previously approved lots and numbers, so we don't get everything out of sequence. But what you're looking at now is a proposed 8 lots.
Or did we just get?
It was kind of a minor thing. It's a private easement. It's supposed to be a road there.
Within your code, you can have easements, right of ways.
For a major subdivision and being it's a cul-de-sac, it states in our code that the cul-de-sac turnaround must be 28 feet and paved.
Nope.
I'm just reading this from our.
Yep, I'm understanding. The road that we're showing, whether or not the property lines go to the center of it and it becomes a municipal road, or in this case, it's a private easement. It's still the same concept as far as getting the road into a cul-de-sac, having to turn around. I just heard in the previous one that you gave a waiver for 22 feet of pavement from the 28-foot code.
Was just for the cul-de-sac part, not for the road. You know, that's the turnaround.
For the hammerhead
Right.
only.
It was not for the road itself. That was still 28 feet.
Nope, I'm understanding.
Not after you want the cul-de-sac, they're fine. In my opinion, you need a road. I mean, basically. I mean, our emergency vehicles get down there and so on and so forth. All these, eventually, there's no houses or anything here. I know this is a concept plan.
Yeah.
So,
Well, to your point, and again, we can talk about that. We're looking at a concept plan at this point, but not to be a municipal owned road. It'll be a private easement. And then how that is constructed, we can discuss that as we move forward. On a 28-foot requirement road in an area, and I believe in your code, it says you have to have some kind of a argument from like steep slopes or topography. But also in that code, it does say in character with the neighborhood. You're coming off of a Hidden Valley Road that has a 20-foot pavement width with less than a foot of shoulder on either side.
regulations changed the sensor. That was there before the regulations came into place, so you can't go by that. You have to go by what the town has as the new regulation.
I understand.
Correct in saying that. I mean, a
Understand.
lot of the roads around here are not 28 feet, but that was before the code. And the developments we just got, they're 28 feet.
And I understand that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that in the code, it also says in character with the neighborhood. If an emergency service is going to have a problem getting down a 20-foot road with 3 foot shoulders, which would be effectively 26, how are they going to get there if Hidden Valley Road isn't suitable? You're telling me that it has to be 28 feet for an emergency services. Emergency
20 feet
services.
just for access by emergency services or whatever, you know, I know it's gonna be a private road. But still, in our code, it says, it doesn't matter if it's a private road. Or if, you know, we take care of it, it still has to be 28 feet. According to the regulations, unless I'm reading this wrong. I don't see anywhere where it says you can have a easement for a major subdivision with access to all these properties.
Well, an easement, you know, or right away, it's a private road. So you either extend your lots to the center of the private road, or you create a separate lot for the road. In easements like this, what has typically happened is when you have a maintenance agreement, instead of having a separate tax parcel for the private road, everybody has ownership of it. It's a lot easier for writing the maintenance agreement and maintenance of that road.
How wide have you made that easement that you're proposing? How wide is it?
50 feet all the way through and 70 at the at Hidden Valley Road. Because we looked at having the slight boulevard type entrance like you have at Second Lake Estates. It makes for a nice entrance. It makes it for you can have some you know, landscaping and a sign in the middle of that. It
How-
just looks
What is the diameter of the cul-de-sac at the end?
70 feet.
The easement is 70 feet. What's the pavement diameter?
Well, it's not pavement, but the cul-de-sac circle total
Something.
is
Maybe something.
I don't know, but he's not
only 70 feet.
Right.
It's not 100 and
No, it's 170 feet.
radius. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
But it's not gonna be paved, right? It's gonna be dirt, gravel.
Gravel. What we're proposing, and again, we're gonna work this through with you, is that we're proposing a 20-foot gravel surface with 3-foot shoulders. So 26,
What's the material of the shoulders?
it would be, it just. gravel.
You wouldn't tell a difference between the shoulders and the pavement, so it'd be 26
feet.
feet of gravel, edge to edge.
So the 26 feet, the reason with that is with the shoulders is that you have your typical slope and then you have a slightly different slope on the shoulders for the stormwater design that Studio A, the engineer, has been working with. And it just is a less of an impact on the land by doing it that way.
Mhm.
So again, we understand, we're open for discussions on this. But we just said, we're trying to make this it is a small subdivision. It's in an area that's kind of, tucked back in there off of Hidden Valley Road. And make it kind of a personal, estate for these people and everything. And have them have some skin in the game by owning to the center of the easement. Therefore, they all own part of the road and therefore the maintenance agreement is a lot easier to maintain. And again, I understand your regs. You just gave a waiver from those regs from the previous application. I understand it's still open for discussions. I'm not saying you have to do that now. It's conceptual. But just a lot of the roads in the character of this neighborhood is what we're trying to maintain. And if we had a through road from 2 major arteries or arterials, we definitely understand a 28-foot road. But you're having a road coming off of basically a very rural road going nowhere.
We took the information from the easement that you granted a couple of months ago down to the county and talked to them about that easement. And then that one had 4 homes on it. This would have 8. The difference, couple differences between them is ours is longer. But because we went over 4, that made our road a fire access road. That's their terminology. And on a fire access road, you had to have a turnaround or a hammerhead or something like that.
He's
So we're
talking,
meeting-
excuse me, Tom, he's talking about the Canestorp subdivision that you approved. And if you remember on the Canestorp, one of those lots was a keyhole entry lot, which went into the bottom lot. And then there were easements off that keyhole entryway to the other 3 remaining lots. That's what he's talking about. That's the one that he took to the county and showed them. That was not a road. It was a driveway to that bottom lot and it belonged to that bottom lot, which they gave them easements off that. This easement that they've got designed here, if you want to call it an easement and not a road, is not adjoined. Well, it's adjoined to every parcel. It's not adjoined to just one parcel and then the other parcels are getting easement off it. It is different in that manner.
And while we were there and talking to them, there's in that same property, there's another property beside it. And so we asked them, what if that property was divided and you put additional lots onto that easement? How would they feel about that? And the fire department said, as long as we got our 26 feet, we're okay with it. Not the fire department, excuse me. The county fire guys said that they were okay with that. So that would have been 8 homes on an easement.
A couple of different purposes for that too. I mean, in nowhere in the future, unless you get the permission from all the homeowners to give up property on their private road, could it ever be then turned over and become a public road? They keep it private.
This is in the RE zone, residential resort, which requires at least an acre per lot.
Correct.
Do you know what the acreage is of these lots? There, it's on there. You've written it on there.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking, and this is separate from the road issue, is our subdivision book requires a lot width of 200 feet at some point.
and your front yard setback is measured from where the lot becomes 200 feet wide. The way you've got it drawn here, you're doing a setback from that road. You're not doing your front yard setback, and I'm talking about the pie shaped pieces, not the squared ones. You're not showing the setback, the setback line that you've got in there is not really correct, because that front yard setback line has to be from where the lot becomes 200 feet wide and is measured back from that.
So your big problem would be with lot 6.
Gotcha. Yep. Well, we can reconfigure that a little bit for that purpose.
I just wanted to clarify that to you.
Thank you.
200 feet from hidden back.
6 and 7, though.
7 is gonna be closed.
What about 5?
5 would make it.
I don't know where this
Got a
road
little
goes on this side over here, it swings this way.
Well, right there's all this.
1 inch equals
Yeah,
200.
the setback we show was from the required setback from the,
Right.
the easement.
So I got out my
I'm saying
ruler and I
you
checked
need
it.
200 feet. They've got more than 200. It just, you gotta see where the road is. So wherever the main road is, you need 200 feet. And then you have to have a setback of 75 foot and then 35 foot on the back.
In terms of.
And those are all shown, we show the 75 right at this.
The only one I see a problem with is possibly 6 and 7.
Yeah, and
But I think 7's gonna squeak it because you can get,
we
but
get,
it all depends on where they're gonna put that house. Cause you need that 200 feet and then you need 75 feet and 35 off the back, and that gives you what you can work with. Cause I'm dealing with it myself with my stuff.
yeah, with those lots being, 500 feet deep, like you were saying, it's at the scale of the map, it's a little hard to tell, but yes. we
I
can-
think you will have the biggest problem with 6.
Yep. And what we can do is we can rotate some of those lines around, because on lot 4, we have ample room and to be able to accommodate them. And I appreciate the,
That's the one I'm looking at. Yep. Cause you don't want a trailer on the house, cause that's all you're gonna have room for.
exactly.
At this stage, it would be good. Ask our fire department to come up with their, was it 2 years ago?
They usually defer,
They're saying.
they usually defer to the Warren County building codes, but we certainly can ask.
So what I would suggest is you figure out where you're gonna have the 200 feet. And then do the 75, the 35, what big of a spot are you gonna be able to do? And then you're gonna have to worry about your septics and your water being on different sides.
We got plenty of space for that.
Yeah, I'm just, that's,
Well, your building setbacks, I understand, will accommodate the plan to make that.
so
I don't
then
think-
you're gonna literally say, when you have that lot, this is where you have to put the house.
Exactly. Yep. It'll be defined on every lot exactly where the house has to
Well,
go.
some of them have plenty of room, so you're not gonna have that issue.
But even so, on every lot, we do a conceptual layout for the house, the driveway, the septic, the well. And you can see on those, you're gonna be, you're not gonna have basically the ability to move it around that. Put it that way. Which is not a bad thing.
Lot 3 wouldn't have a problem, lot 2 wouldn't have a problem.
So also, I wanted to share this with the board, but you probably got it because they sent it to me. That's Adirondack Park Agency that you're trying to change the. It says area 1, area 2. Adirondack Park has received an application for amendments to the official Adirondack Land Park Use Development Plan from Thomas Reed. We just got it today, so.
Okay.
Did you want to share that with us?
That's a density.
I know, I'm just saying, do you want to share that with us? Because I just got it, so the board knows, or what
Or
it's,
if you have it, we're
what it's about.
Did we get it?
I just got it.
I didn't know if we got the density.
Well, I know, I just wanted you to share what this is about to the board.
Oh, in 2019, the town applied for a density change for a whole area from the Double H Ranch all the way down to 9N. And are you people familiar with this? Okay. And that got all the way through to the end, and then they decided not to do it. they did it without prejudice, saying that you could come back and ask for it over again. What we have done is we've done it just for our property, so we didn't have to go through the town. So we've asked for a density change just on our land.
But you haven't gotten anything yet, right? This is just the letter that you,
But all it said, all that, the letter that I got just said, your application is complete.
right?
And that starts a 30-day cycle.
Confirming that they received it.
And
That's
then
where it's
after
at.
the 30 days, they'll say, okay, we're gonna get serious about it or not. And then they'll have a public hearing. And then people will get a chance to say yes or no. And they told us that they might do the public hearing on that one here, in Lake Luzerne rather than up there. So, anyway, that's a different issue.
How will that change your plans with this?
I won't.
It won't? No. Okay. And I'm still like, looking for on this, where we can have an easement for a major subdivision rather than a paved 28-foot road. That's why the other subdivisions have told me we had to have it, and they're saying, well, because the other ones aren't that, you know, they figure we should decide to let it go through without it.
So I think that you're raising two different issues, I think. The first being whether or not they can have an easement. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I'm hearing.
Well, that's what it sounds, an easement instead of a road, right?
And then I'm hearing you say, do they have to meet the 28 feet? Those two different questions,
Well,
because they are.
I don't see anything where easement for a major subdivision is allowed. I thought you had to have an actual road.
I think that they're calling it an easement, but I'm assuming it's. Right. So I think that's just a difference in terms.
Correct.
So I do believe that is allowed by your subdivision because. People can apply for a minor subdivision, but if they have an easement as their road, it turns it into a major subdivision. Which just by that logic, you'd have to be able to have an easement for a major subdivision. The 28 feet, just feels like deja vu, but.
If you just wanted 2 more feet of gravel, I mean, we can do that.
I'm just, why you wouldn't want to have a road? It would just make the development so much nicer than have a gravel road to those 8 homes that you're gonna build. But I'd rather have a paved road going to this beautiful house than a pull on our gravel driveway and go to our road.
Well, it's an
Doesn't make sense to
interesting
me.
point, John.
What?
Yeah, sorry, please.
So. The way that I read the subdivision regulations, and I'm open to other interpretations, but the way I read them is that any road, even if it's a private road. Has to be the 28 feet paved or however we talked about it last time. That being said, just like you did the subdivision we just approved, and I understand that the 22 is only the hammer. But it's still the same analysis, like if they came in and you proved that the county said their road is sufficient and they only need this amount to turn around. If you can justify those reasons, you can give them a waiver from that 20.
But not for the main road, just for the turnaround.
I understand you've only done a turnaround in the past, but if they came in with evidence that said. We deserve a waiver because, and they give you all those reasons, you can give them a waiver for that.
What was the road width on the can store?
It wasn't.
It wasn't a road. It was like a driveway.
I guess it's a.
It was different. That was an actual driveway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So are we setting a precedent by saying, yeah, you can have your gravel driveway, so I'll tell you, because you can say, turn around and say, I'm not gonna put a full building in companies anymore. It's not a bad precedent, so just throw everything in.
The only reason I'm saying no is because you're not gonna waive it unless they can come to you with reasons why you should, and those reasons are legitimate. I mean, you can do whatever you want, waive it for no reason, but that would be subject to challenge and they probably wouldn't. But no, you're never setting a precedence because each case is different.
And in terms of the material, you know, if they stick with the gravel and then they can't sell any of these lots because they're like, I'm not doing that cost for gravel driveway, I want a paved driveway, then he'll probably pave it after that because he wants to sell lots. So
Can I make a comment? Two
Please.
things. First of all, with the gravel, it's actually healthier for the land. I think we all do that. The DEC would love it if everything was gravel because it really solves great issues. But the second thing is our realtor firm for the 3 lots is Jeff and Pam York. I think everybody knows who they are. They're pretty competent realtors from Lake George. And we've talked to them about the gravel, and he said the gravel is going to be actually okay. They have some subdivisions now that are gravel. They're very attractive to buyers. The buyers actually, for one reason or another, like them. And he was wondering why we were paving it. So I think that there's a couple different views of the gravel road.
So
If people don't drive as fast on them.
what I'm saying, well, this is, don't forget, this is a cul-de-sac, just like the ones that we approved. From what I'm hearing, there has to be a reason for us to waive this.
Yes, correct. I was just gonna
Say,
say.
well, no, you can do it because. Just because you want to just put it in instead of a paved road. I mean, what is the real reason? I'm looking to hear what the reason is.
So, hold on, I mean, we're not quite there, but.
Okay,
So if you are looking for a waiver, if you go to the subdivision, the subdivision regulations, it'll tell you the exact language they have to consider. So you wanna phrase your request for a waiver in those terms. So that I consider them the way they need to under these regulations.
Yes. So we'll put it in writing and they specify for the each individual reasons.
I think
Just
it's
like we did
the-
for the other things before.
Absolutely.
It was like health, safety.
It's on page 72, Mary.
but that was for paved, not for gravel.
I understand.
Not the other one.
But they, hold on, sorry, just give me 1 second.
Whoop, wrong page,
72.
73.
the hardship.
Yeah. Agriculture.
One second. In the resolution they just passed. The waivers will not impact the character of the development, nor will they jeopardize the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare because. And then you want to fill that blank in for that. Which I think you read that language, so you must have had it. So anyway, that just, and I'm talking in terms of just being able to defend a lawsuit.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, well, understood,
okay.
completely understood.
How much, what's the acreage on 1 and 2?
To the existing lots, they were over an acre piece. I'm trying to remember what they were. They were like 1.58 and 1.59, something along those lines.
Okay, thank you.
Everything is listed.
Yeah, I
Everything is
just
on
wanted to make
one
sure.
tab.
So you'd have to come up with some reason for this unusual hardship. You can't build a road, but you already came before us and you're gonna build a road, but you didn't want to put the 28 feet in. So now you just want to do it gravel. But what's the unusual hardship all of a sudden?
Right, well, we'll spell it all out and bring it to the board and let you all review it. I mean, there's, again, we're here for concept. I'm here to get some input from the board. But I wanted to make it plain and clear that, we are looking for a reduced width in the road and we will come back. Whether or not the board wants to accept that or not, that's up to the board.
How long is this road?
The road to the throat of the cul-de-sac. It's like 800 feet. 798, I think to be exact. But I'll label that all out as well.
The maximum length should be 800 feet, so that might just make it, according to our,
What, how long did you say it was? I'm sorry.
you said 800, I think, right?
798
790.
To the throat of the code.
to the cul-de-sac, right?
And then also the fact, and again, that's why I'm here for comments. We also have that boulevard entrance, so where are you gonna measure that from? Because you have the emergency access, you have 2 points. No access.
Well, that's all part of the road, so it goes from where it hits onto Hidden Valley to,
That's what I'm.
yeah.
It's in the same exact location that it was previously, that we reviewed the length, and I'll put it all on this map. Again, the only thing we did was take the lot lines and extend them to the center of the road. So that therefore becomes a private easement. What the width or the material is irrelevant at this point. It's still a private easement to get to all these lots. And then we can work out those details. We will definitely ask for the waiver and we'll spell out in detail what our reasoning is for those waivers.
You're looking for a, well, I didn't have a problem with the last subdivision. You guys just didn't want to put the road in. Period. So
It's again, we understand.
I'm still kind of sticking to the road part because I think that's in our regulations and I think that's what we should do unless you can show us some kind of, not some kind of, show us a unusual hardship that has something to do with like building the road, page 28. I understand your reasoning about the some of these realtors think stone is better than paved. Well, our regulation calls for paved, it says paved. If there's an unusual hardship or you can't do it. I think to be fair, we should stick to our regulation. And part of it is if you have unusual hardship.
Is the accepting or denying of this concept plan? I mean, it doesn't make a difference.
They just want a determination of,
No, I don't think that you're accepting
Oh.
it. I think you're just providing.
yeah, they're just looking for our input.
This says within 30 days, planning board shall inform the subdivider that the data submitted does or does not meet the objectives of these regulations. You're not approving it, you're basically giving them comments. And telling them whether it would be a minor or major, but it sounds like they know it's
So
gonna be a
major.
major.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'll briefly just, this has been reviewed. Archaeological has been done, as you know, from previously. APA's ready for the approval on it again. DOH has reviewed it. It's all good. We don't need to do test pits.
You realize that when you get ready to submit this, it's starting over again. We've got to do the seeker all over again. It's got to all be the notices and, okay.
That has to be done, but all the DOH stuff doesn't have to be repeated. or
I
go to
don't
the
know.
park agency. Well, we
already
we
checked.
talked to the
Okay.
park agency already, so we don't.
But
have
as
to-
far as our board is concerned, it's like they're looking at it
Yeah, public.
as
hearing,
new
yeah.
again.
It's a new application in front of the town, but
Yeah, it's no period.
Basically, the change here is just the road. And everything else that's been done in the past, according to the park agency, is still acceptable. They've been on the site, they've done the wetlands research, they've outlined the wetlands, they've done the DOH, they were there with DOH to do the test pits. The test pits have been done on every one of these lots. The archaeological study, as you mentioned, has been done. Everything's been done. We were back there 2 months ago talking to the park agency. They just looking, what's the town think about the road? And so once you guys say, okay, the road, the concept of the road is okay, that doesn't end things, that begins things. And then it goes back to the park agency and back to the county and back to everybody else. So,
Does, and again, and I understand, and I thank you for everybody for their comments. Is there anybody else that has comments or standing on the road at this point?
No, I think, I know that. Points are salient.
Well, I mean,
think-
it says the only way you could approve something like that would be an unusual hardship. Otherwise, everybody else that's had subdivisions has had to have a 28-foot paved road. They had no hardships. In fact, they were ready to go, but they didn't want the 28-foot paved road. But now there's a hardship and they have to show us the hardship so that we could approve it. Otherwise, I don't think you can approve it according to the regs. Am I right? Karen, I don't. Mary?
I mean, they have to make a showing, yes, but I think that they know that and they're prepared.
Yeah, we did check, Mr. Chairman, we understand, we did check. It's not a variance request through the town. It's a subdivision reg that we can ask for a waiver from the planning.
And the waiver says unusual hardship.
No, I'm understanding. If you didn't have one, like, I'm just asking for a vote to the board. Does anybody else have comments to that extent? I just want to know what I'm dealing with before I come back and write a long narrative. That's all I'm asking.
No, I think ultimately I'd want the fire department to take a look at things and
You want me to?
be comfortable with it.
All right.
Well, I don't know timeline, I don't, whether that's probably after the concept,
down the road.
that's down the road once we have the preliminary plat and stuff.
I mean, the way that the prior subdivision dealt with it is they went to the county, so I would encourage you
Yeah.
to do the same thing to get an answer from them.
I will have it in writing, but just your information in discussions, emergency services are fine. They are fine. I've talked to fire chiefs, I've talked to EMS, I've talked to the county, I've talked to the sheriff's department. And I've mentioned this to them in the type of road and what we're doing, and they said they were all fine with it as long as it was a minimal of 20 foot in width. And then they were especially happy when I mentioned the fact that we would probably have some type of a boulevard entrance, because then
on each side, a total of 26 feet wide on the interior, but out by the road is going to be, it's gonna come out wider than that. And, it's 70 feet wide at the entrance. The radius of that cul-de-sac is 70 feet.
Right.
Have I got that correct?
That's correct.
And the easement will be a 50. I've got, for some reason, I've got 50 feet all the way through, gravel, 50 feet all the way through. I don't know what I picked that up from.
It's a 50-foot wide right of way.
Right.
But the right of way extends to over 70 feet because of the boulevard entrance.
Got it, okay. So I would be, that's the correct information to, if they came and looked at this map. To pass on.
I'll show this to Greg. I'll go over the Greg.
Okay, but there's also EMS,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay,
No, yeah, please.
okay, I just wanted to make sure I had the facts. If I needed to pass it on.
And what I can do for you, Karen, if you want, is I can detail out a little bit more for you and send you an updated PDF.
Of just that, of that section, yeah.
Throw it right up for you.
Does anyone else see any issues that they're looking at? You got wells, you've got septic, you're gonna have a house. Do you see anything else?
200 feet, and then the setbacks.
Yeah, I've got that, the front yard
That's
setback.
the only thing that I recommend, where you're gonna be able to put these houses, because it's gonna be pretty much a limited area, some of those.
So what you're, just so I have that right, Karen, you're saying where the lot width becomes 200, then you impose your setback from there.
Yeah.
75 foot from that point,
From there.
Yes,
and it has to be 200 foot
but
against
the septic
the
and all,
road, not your easement, the road, the major road that's out there.
I don't see.
That's right.
that is the easement.
And so there would be,
That
they
is
gotta
the
be
easement.
200 foot from the road, is what he said.
So.
Where my lot width
Like my understanding. Well, this is.
I got it.
road.
And the septic and the well can be in that,
Yeah.
that part of the land that you're not counting as front, like
And
the
then
front
from
yard.
that 200 feet,
That is
you
for
have to go
building
back 75 feet
purposes.
to
Right.
be able to build that.
Exactly.
And you must have 35 feet off the back.
They
of
can
that
apply
to build it.
Right.
They could, yeah,
So this one right here.
Yes. yeah, no, they could apply for an area.
Everything around it.
So much there, and
It's not-
it's there, where's you gonna get the 200 feet and then the 75 feet and the 35 feet?
You guys have any more comments with them?
Almost all those lots are bigger than the 3 lots in front, if you look at the 3 lots in front. And
Yeah, it's
houses.
just when you
Houses
have that
are-
high thing, it's
Oh, yeah.
so hard to. I went through it, so I'm just.
Yep, we appreciate it. We'll make it, because that's for the structure itself.
Right,
Your well and your septic.
right, they gotta just be on opposite sides.
So a couple little tweaks to the property lines you want. It'll be done.
But it's good
Okay.
that you know that now.
Yes, I do. Thank you. It is very well, I know that now.
I don't have any more questions.
Nor do I.
Very well. Question.
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Will everybody get a chance to read the minutes online?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any additions or subtractions from those minutes?
Good.
Okay, we just need make a motion, we approve the minutes of June 25th, 2025.
I'll second.
Motion to approve the June minutes, all in favor? Motion carried.
Business, Karen.
I just have a question, because it's gonna affect us. With this road stuff. Just for us to talk, okay? We do have a lot of roads in this town. Which aren't even as good as. The roads that they're even asking for. You go up on Beartown Road or all of those in that whole area.
Or they did the whole.
I understand. Why aren't we making them upgrade those roads to at least
Yeah.
that?
Grandfather did, you can't make it change that, correct?
Prior non-conforming, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And I know the road going to their subdivision is very small, but
No, I
This
was
is our-
just wondering, because I
and the
mean,
town
like, if
board
you ever
passes
drive up Airtown
regulations.
Road, there's divots, you gotta, if you don't have the right vehicle, you bottom out.
I mean, I went to the town board meeting when this came up. And they all agreed that. The town board, whoever redid the regulations, had a reason for this 28-foot road. It wasn't just thrown out there, let's just pick a number.
But I'm
They
more
did it
worried
for a
about it
reason.
being, having to be paid.
Well, that's part of the regulation,
I
unless
understand,
there's a hardship.
but that's the thing, is if they can prove that if there's a better reason to have it the other way, why are we so tough on that point? If they give you the 28-foot and they're doing it with gravel and they're saying it's better for the economics, because I'll tell you, I'd be happy with a road like that if up on Barrowtown Road or in some of the other places that we have.
Well, keep in mind that you're a board.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
And if they come back with reasonable reasons why they're asking for this waiver. You each get a vote as to whether or not you would approve it or not, so
Okay.
it's not. Governed by one person's vote.
They did.
And as far as the other roads that already exist, we can't ask them to upgrade because they are an existing non-conforming.
But if they're town roads, why don't
However,
we do it?
in the discussions that we've had about the town accepting roads. The highway superintendent has been very definite that if you're going to build a road, build it correctly and make it the right width for the. Emergency
All the
services that
vehicles.
need to service it. So
No
that's
cloud.
why. We. On any of these ones that have come in that they're looking for the town to accept the road.
Right,
We make sure that they're built to the standard
which this,
that the highway superintendent wants and what is in the subdivision unless. They can prove that there's a reason not to do it, which with that hammerhead they had.
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
I'm not,
However, now he's not looking to turn it over to the town any longer.
That's true.
That is what
You
they
know.
are saying right now.
Right.
But how do you-
How does that
but if
affect?
they were gonna turn it over, then they have to upgrade it to what that point is, if they're gonna keep it.
Yeah,
up.
I
That's
would
their
agree
own,
with
Town
that,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't accept it that way.
correct,
Right.
that's fine, they would have to bring it up to the town, but if they're doing it as their own, I was just. Wondering, cause the same thing, it could be said, why doesn't the town upgrade the roads that they already own? And we get bonds for it and fix them.
I thought part of the regulation was when, if the town was gonna take it over, they still had to pave it, even so it's their road. Remember, we went through this in case they had, what do they call that, an organization, right? They would still had to go follow the regulations and pave it and make it 28 feet. Even though the town wasn't gonna get it, they still had to follow that. I remember that going through the, well, Mary remembers, we went through that conversation over and over, just because it's a private road, it's their road, they still have to follow the regulations.
The guidelines.
And for the, this is just for that 800-foot to turn it to blacktop. How much more of a cost do you think it is realistically? I was just wondering if we would even know, because then you'd have to divide that by 8 and add that to the lot cost, which just. What makes it harder and harder for us to get affordable homes into our, and that's all we're caring about is how do we get affordable homes into Lake Luzerne?
Well, the other two subdivisions are doing it.
But which
Evergreen
one?
and Luzerne Woods.
Yeah, but they're gonna be putting out houses that are gonna not be $500,000 homes.
You don't think his houses are gonna be $500,000?
No, I think they're gonna be more than 500,000.
I mean, Tom.
Tom,
I don't know what.
Oh, he's gonna put
I don't
it.
think you can build a house for less.
You can't even build it.
Well, I know you're $100,000 just to get your septic and power and everything else in there.
Present lots that he has up for sale. Are like, they're like $140,000 for the lots.
Just for the lot.
For the lot,
Yes, but you know how hard it is right now to get a septic? I'm just saying, a septic, a sewer. I mean, water, you dip your water and power to you. You know how hard it is to get power to a lot now? It's crazy. So that's why the costs, I know, that's why the costs are so high. You're better off buying a house that's a piece of crap that has all that stuff
For sure.
and just leveling it and building it, and you're ahead of the game.
I don't know if this board is in charge of trying to find ways to bring housing into our town.
That's what I was
But-
looking at it as.
There are multiple organizations across the Adirondacks that are addressing this and addressing it well. Lake Placid area has a really nice development that they put in a couple years ago. And the town of Keene, or the village of Keene, or Keene Valley, I think it's Keene Valley. They just started one with small houses, but they're homes. And they come with stipulations. It's done in a partnership between the town finding land to donate and local builders that are pretty much working at cost. And it's really successful, but we'd have to get somebody here to talk to us and.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out for the overall plan for us, we need more people in this town to develop the town, because then they'll have more people willing to spend so that we can have more in this town. So they're not going other places.
We need young families.
And that's all I was trying to figure out. And I just trying to figure out when you break that down to the cost. It
I
makes,
guarantee you, between the price of the property and the house, they're gonna be $500,000 in his area. It is.
well, that's
There's always
talking
gonna
a building, right? I'm just.
The guy that was gonna build property, well, he kind of backed out, Guido's, whoever his son. He was gonna have a development, half-acre home, so it was gonna bring the cost down. But then
Well,
they
half
did-
acre you can't do, you need an acre.
there's a way to do it in certain areas, right, Karen? Half-acre lots. If you get in the right zone. Right, Hamlet residential.
Yeah, you can't change the zone though.
And he was gonna try to do that, 50 homes,
You could do a cluster development though.
but never, they just didn't do it.
Cost,
No.
you're right. I'm finding out hard how it costs. They eat you up.
Okay, we got, has anyone else got any other business?
You?
No, I mean, you already brought up this APA thing with Tom Reed.
Is that gonna change anything? I mean, he didn't seem to.
Letter that we received, says these two areas cannot be considered for map amendments as requested because they are not defined by boundaries that are consistent with the regional scale on the APLUDB map. Therefore, the Adirondack Park Agency will need to expand the areas under review using appropriate regional boundaries to include areas nearby with similar characteristics to the requested area. So I don't know where this stands. I haven't called them and talked to them, but one issue that I am seeing is one of the areas that he's asked to be reclassified, and you have to be careful when you talk about this. It's APA classification, and then you have Lake Luzerne zoning there, the same thing. So one of the areas that he's looking to have reclassified, if they were to grant it, the classification that he's asking for would require 3.2 acres for an average lot. But that land that is presently in our zone, residential countryside, requires 10 acres. So even though he's asking for that from them, it's not going to get him past us.
Right.
Here zoning wise, because we're requiring 10 acres per lot. And they're only, if it got passed, reclassified, it would be 3.2 acres. So I'm just throwing this out at you to let you know, he's asked for this, it's in works.
Interesting.
I don't know where it's going, we'll try to keep you informed. I want to call that Adirondack Park Agency and ask them, who do they send the notices to if they do have a public hearing on it? Are they near to that? What is happening? But we did want to make you aware that that is in the works.
You think if they do it, he's gonna come to the town and ask us to do it?
I don't think he's doing it independently. He's not going to ask the town to do it. I think he gave up on asking the town to do it because town board was no longer willing to do it.
Which they shouldn't.
Right. The other ones that didn't want to, they wanted the 28-foot road, they wanted everything the way I said it. And he did, at that point, didn't have any unusual or
We still need an alternate, and by the end of the year, we're gonna need a second alternate. Please get word out to people that you know and ask if anyone is willing to serve on this board. And the other thing is anything that we like tonight, if this comes, if anything that's not resolved at a board meeting, please try to remember to bring your paperwork back with you at the next meeting so that you have the appropriate paperwork in front of you. I didn't expect you to do that with Evergreen or Luzerne Woods because my files are like this, so I don't expect you to be walking in with those, but like that Ripley one that we worked on today, it would have been helpful if we had had the paperwork that we've given you in the past. So just try to remember that to bring in stuff that will be back in front of you again. That's all I have. Sound like a kindergarten teacher.
that being said, there's nothing else. Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
In favor? Okay. Sure.